Hi, everyone. Welcome to Enjoy English. I'm Steven.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today's date is December 16th, and for the next 2 days, please refer to pages 34 to 37 under Just So You Know.
我们今天要进入我们的生活快递是12月份的哦。
So the title is Reflect on Your Spending with the Latte Factor.
我们今天要介绍一种咖啡吗？叫做拿铁因子，这是个什么没有听过的一个新品牌。但是呢，它这个拿铁因子是讲说呢，你要对于你的 spending， 你的每天的花费、每天的开支呢，要稍微的认真思考一下，否则呢，你的钱呐是没有不见啦，但是只是被你喝下你的肚子里面了。
So we'll learn more about the latte factor today. Let's talk about reflect on. That just means to think a lot about or think deeply about something, okay? Your wallet is being drained bit by bit.
可是你的 wallet， 你的钱包呢，现在怎么样 ？is being drained， 正在被什么叫 drain 啊？我们知道 drain 原本就是我们这个排水的这个系统，这个水一点点的排光了。那我们这边讲的是说你被喝光了。什么是 bit by bit？ 就是 little by little， 逐渐的、慢慢的，你的钱包就被喝光了。
Let's learn about the latte factor.
好的。
Reflect on your spending with the latte factor. Have you ever sat down and thought about your spending habits? Is there something particular that you treat yourself to almost every day, such as a coffee, a dessert, or breakfast on the go? Now, consider how much money you spend on this item every month. It might not seem like much at first, but small daily purchases can quietly add up over time. For example, how much money can you save if you stop buying coffee every day? This idea lies at the heart of what is known as the latte factor. The term latte factor was coined by financial expert David Bach, a former vice president of the investment bank Morgan Stanley, and the author of over a dozen financial books. Bach found that even a small daily expense that seems harmless could greatly affect our finances. For example, an extra cup of convenience store coffee that costs 45 NT dollars a day adds up to around 1,350 NT dollars per month. If you prefer more expensive cafes, that monthly total will take up a bigger part of your budget. So, what's your latte factor?
All right, so this article, it starts with a question, which is a very good technique to kind of grab the attention of your listener or your reader. So here it goes. Have you ever sat down and thought about your spending habits?
这第一个问题，其实我个人是觉得蛮值得好好的思考一下的。他是问你说呢，你是否曾经静下心来，好好的坐下来呢，想一想呢，你自己的一些消费的 habit， 就是一些习惯。
Yeah, sit down and think about something. It's kind of like a lot of times when we have to think hard about something, we have to sit down, right? You have to really
站着好像不太好想。
sit there and really think about something. So what are you thinking about? Thinking about your spending habits. Okay, so spending, to spend is to 花, right? 花钱 to spend money. So spending habits are the way or manner in which you use your money. Okay, how are your spending habits?
我觉得我个人应该是还蛮 cautious， 我蛮谨慎的。
Cautious, okay? Cautious, which means that you do it very carefully.
That's true.
Okay, well, me, being a Gemini, 双子座, sometimes I'm very cautious. Most times, I'm not.
它只有一部分是还算蛮谨慎
Yeah.
但大部分呢，老师画的稍微的没有思考太多。
Yeah, so I can say I have unhealthy spending habits.
OK， 不是很健康的。
I'm just kidding. All right. Is there something particular that you treat yourself to almost every day, such as a coffee, a dessert or breakfast on the go?
这个句子其实蛮长的，不过它也是一个问句。就上面一个问句完呢，接下来他又问了一个问句。他问的说呢，有没有任何的东西是 particular？ 什么叫 particular 呢？通常我们就强调这个东西的一个特定性或者是独特性，一个特殊的地方。他说呢，有没有一些什么特定的东西？可是这个东西呢，是你拿来 treat yourself to， 是你拿来呢对待你自己，也就是好好的犒赏你自己。比如说，你今天可能考试考得很好啦，然后你就想说，我要去买一个什么东西来好好的这个款待我自己呢？而且是 almost every day，几乎每一天。比如说，他后面就举几个例子了。他就说，像是你可能买一杯咖啡啦，或者是买一份甜点啦，或者呢是买一个早餐。不过这些东西呢是 on the go。什么叫 on the go 呢？原本这个字呢是说，你在旅行途中或在行动中或随时随地去一个动作，所以这时候我们就把它翻译成你随手就是走过去，刚好看到有这个早点，就随手买了这个早点。
So particular in this sentence, you could also use the word specific. Okay, specific. Is there something specific that you treat yourself to? So you don't have to just treat yourself, you can treat other people. So if I treat Bernice to a coffee, that means I buy a coffee for her. In Chinese, we would say
就是请客啦，
请她喝一杯咖啡. Okay, so here, the situation, treat yourself to, okay, this thing every day. In this situation, a coffee, a dessert, or breakfast on the go. Now, consider how much money you spend on this item every month.
他说现在呢，请你呢好好的去想一想了。Consider 就是你要考虑一下，想一想，到底呢你每天每个月花了多少钱 ？How much money you spend on？ 记得 spend 这个动词表示花钱的时候，我们的介系词要用的是 on。On this item 就是在某一项这一项的东西上面，到底你每个月花了多少钱？请你现在好好的想一想咯。
And I do like how the author starts with the word now in this sentence because the first two sentences were questions to kind of capture your attention, to try to see if they have a way to build a mutual understanding or experience with you. And then once you're connected, as you're reading, then the author goes, now, 就现在, now that I have your attention, maybe we're on the same understanding, consider, and then they give you a command. Consider how much money you spend on this item every day, or think deeply about how much you spend on this thing every month. So this every month can also be, you can also use the adverb monthly. Okay, M-O-N-T-H-L-Y.
Yeah.
So think about how much money you spend on this item monthly. Could be written as well. It might not seem like much at first, but small daily purchases can quietly add up over time.
他用到了这个副词quietly， 静悄悄的，在不知不觉之中，你的钱好像就花的变多了。所以他一开始就说 it， 这个 it 指的是什么？就是上面这一句话，你如果每一天或每一个月你都这样子为了要好好的这个奖励自己、犒赏自己呢，就随手买了一个早餐，买了一杯咖啡，或者是买了一份甜点的这些事情呢，有可能似乎好像一开始 at first 起初一开始好像你觉得也没多少钱嘛，汉堡一个了不起35吧40吧咖啡一杯也没多少钱。你如果每天这样子花，他后面就讲了 but 后面这个事情你就要考虑到了，如果呢你是每一天的 small daily purchases， 我们知道这个 purchase 这边当的是名词，就是购买的意思。你每天呢只是买了这些小额的这个消费呢，却有可能呢会积少成多。我们知道这个 add up 就是加的意思。Over time 就是随着时间，所以呢，随着时间呢，它其实慢慢的、安静的，就会慢慢的往上堆叠了，也就是它会积少成多了。
Yeah, so purchases in this sentence is being used as a plural form of a noun, but it could also be a verb if used correctly. Okay, so purchase, P-U-R-C-H-A-S-E, can be used as a verb. So, but small daily purchases can quietly, which means that you do this gradually without noticing. Okay, it's not so obvious. Add up this phrasal verb. You could also use increase. they can quietly increase over time. Okay? For example, how much money can you save if you stop buying coffee every day?
他下面就做一个举例了，因为他前面就告诉你了，其实你每天这样的小额消费呢，可能随着时间呢，就会慢慢的积少成多了。举例来说呢，如果有一个这样的事情，什么事情呢？万一呢 ，you stop buying, stop doing something， 表示你停止去做这件事情，就这个事情你现在不要做了。他说呢，如果呢你现在每一天呢，告诉你自己，好了，我从今天开始我都不买咖啡了，那你觉得你应该可以省下多少钱呢？
Yes. So every day, another option you could use is the adverb daily. Okay, D-A-I-L-Y. How much money can you save if you stop buying coffee daily? Okay. This idea lies at the heart of what is known as the latte factor.
那么这样子的一个想法，就是如果你今天告诉自己啊，我现在不买这个了，不买那个了，然后看看你可以省下多少钱的这样子的一个想法，这样的一个 idea lies 就是存在于，其实存在于呢什么地方呢？At the heart of something 就是这样子的一个想法，这样的一个信念里面，这个信念呢，就是我们以什么为著名 ，be known as， 就是以什么样的一个后面会讲一个专有的名词，然后以这个东西出名，这个东西呢，我们就把它称之为拿铁因子的一个核心。
Yes, so lies at the heart of something means to be the most important or central part of something. So this idea is the most important part of what is known as the latte factor. So latte factor is capitalized and also in quotations because it's a term that was created. And since it says what is known as the latte factor, that means that several people or many people know about this term. It's a commonly known term that has been created. And by who, we'll find out in the next paragraph. But I also want to point out in Chinese, we say 拿铁.
Yeah, 拿铁.
We start with an N sound, but in English, it's with an L sound. So just pay attention to that difference. Okay, let's take a short break.
好的。
The term latte factor was coined by financial expert David Bach, a former vice president of the investment bank Morgan Stanley and the author of over a dozen financial books.
好啦，第二段就开始讲了，到底这个拿铁因子是个什么东西呢？他第二段就开始去做解释跟说明了。他就说了这样子的一个 term， 我们知道这个 term 就是一个专业的术语嘛，就是刚才我们都知道他画了 quotation 这样的一个术语。这个拿铁因子这个术语呢，其实呢当初是 was， 因为它已经被人家这个创造出来了哈，所以 was coined by 这边的 coin 我们就不当硬币了哈，这边的 coin 就是指说，是由他 invented， 是由他创造出来的哈 ，invented 是由这个人是谁呀？他其实是一个财务专家，对钱非常精明的一个人。那么这个人呢，叫做大卫·巴赫所创造出来的。他不但呢是 former vice president， 他不但呢是一个前副总裁哦，而且他的前副总裁是在哪一个单位任职呢？他其实是投资银行摩根士丹利这边的一个所谓的前副总裁，同时他还有第二个身份，他是一个 author， 他是一个作者。他是什么样的作者呢？他是许多的这些财经书籍，而且是 over a dozen， 表示超过数十本财经书籍的作者。
Yes. So when we say coin a term, that means you create this term or you come up with this term or this word. So that's a verb that we use often when we say that you create this term or word, okay? And then a former vice president, a lot of times you'll see a former VP. So if you see the two letters VP together, usually that stands for vice president. And we also see that he's the author of over a dozen financial books. So that would mean he wrote at least 13 books. So it's over a dozen. Bach found that even a small daily expense that seems harmless could greatly affect our finances.
因为我们知道呢，这位专家他毕竟呢是跟走这个所谓的财务啊，或者是投资相关的一些产业，所以呢，他对于金钱的管理呢，他可能看得比我们任何一般人都来得更加的仔细，更加的透彻。所以呢，这一个人呢，巴赫他就发现一件事情。即使你每一天只花了那么一点点的钱，好 ，small daily expense， 我们知道这个 expense 一样就是开销啦、你的支出啦、你的花费啦。即便你只是每天花了那么一点，10块、5块、15块这些钱，但是呢，都很有可能似乎是一笔怎么样？你觉得是 harmless， 你觉得没有什么害处啊？我今天只花15块买了一杯饮料，我只花了30块买了一个汉堡。但是有可能呢，它会 greatly， 它用这一个字副词来形容后面那个 effect， 叫做影响，它会大大的影响我们的什么？我们的金融财政的部分。
Yes, so Bach found this that even a small daily expense could affect our finances. Found in this situation could also be used. Another verb you could use is discovered. Okay, so Bach discovered that even a small daily expense or cost that seems harmless could greatly affect the finances. So harmless, it's doing no harm, right? But if it was the opposite, it would be harmful, right? Full of harm, HARMFUL. A lot of times you'll have a noun and then you have an LESS or a FUL to let you know if it's full of this or not full of this, like painful. Okay, something is painful means it's full of pain.
Yeah.
If something is painless, that means that you don't feel any pain at all. Not every adjective works that way, but oftentimes you do see that. If you do see like something less, then that means the opposite. You can always use something full. Okay? For example, an extra cup of convenience store coffee that costs 45 NT dollars a day adds up to around 1,350 NT dollars per month.
这边是一个很简单的加减乘除的一个数学啦哈。他就举例来说了，他说如果每一天你有一个 extra cup， 就是你多喝了一杯啊，你额外再去多喝一杯，尤其是你可能也不是去一些比较有名的这些所谓的咖啡店，你就只是去一般的 convenience store 啊，一般的这个所谓的便利商店里面，记得 convenience store 不是 convenient store 哈，convenient store 只是讲这个 store 很方便而已，但并不是指我们日常生活所看到的那一些所谓的便利商店。好啦，他就说了，你只是去便利商店啊，买一杯咖啡啊，那只是就是每天你就是额外多喝了一杯嘛，就再喝一杯的话，那可能呢，你觉得一天大概只花个45块钱，这边用的是 cost， 因为这个 cost 是指这一杯在便利商店的这一杯咖啡只需要花费你45块。好，所以 cost 后面直接接钱。那可是呢，如果你一个月来计算的话呢，它有可能就会开始 add up， 刚才讲的就开始往上堆加了，累积就大约一个月你就要多花1350块新台币。
So even though you see NT 45, we would say it as 45 NT dollars. Okay, so you have to pay attention to how that is said. So here you see 45 NT dollars a day. You could also say 45 NT dollars per day. Okay, but then because at the end of the sentence we have per month, so I think the author wanted to show that you could use both ways.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a big deal if you said per day and also per month, but it's just good to kind of switch it up sometimes in your writing, so people when they're reading it, there's a little bit of variety in your writing. Here we also see the phrasal verb again, adds up. We saw add up in the previous paragraph, right? But here we see add up, and then there's a preposition to.
Yeah.
And then there's a preposition around. There's so many prepositions. Okay, so first you got to know add up, it goes together because that just means increase. Increase, and this time we have a to behind add up because last time we said add up over time. Okay, we're talking about time, so it's like a kind of a general abstract thing, so you can't really add up to time. You have to add up over time. In this situation, we're adding up to a specific number. So that's why we have to. Add up to 1,350 NT dollars. But because it's not exactly 1,350 NT dollars, so we have that preposition around, okay, to say that it's around that total, not exactly that total necessarily.
对，所以老师的解释就是说这个介系词的使用方式。刚才上一段我们用 overtime， 因为老师说了 time 是一个抽象的东西，你又看不到摸不到，所以你不能用 add up to time， 这样很奇怪，是这个时间怎么变多你也看不到。可是现在你看到的是一个实际上的一个数字，所以这时候你可以用 to 这个介系词，但是呢又不是刚刚好是1350块台币，所以加了一个 around 大约。
Yeah, so I know sometimes in English, the prepositions, they're the
真的很
trickiest.
难搞
They're the trickiest.
没错，
They're
有时候
also-
可能他们 native speaker 有时候可能也会不小心用错。
Yeah, we're like, wait, is it to or in? Yeah, even for us, it's confusing sometimes. So I'm just trying to say that to make sure that you guys don't feel discouraged, because sometimes when you're trying to learn, you're trying to say, which one is it? Why are there so many prepositions?
真的。
Don't be put off by seeing more than two prepositions together. If it makes sense, then it makes sense. But prepositions, they really do help keep a sentence together to let you know where things are located or when they're going to happen, or their distance from each other. They're very important words that seem very small and insignificant, but they're so important.
没错，因为有的时候你这个字里面，如果万一没有这个介系词，就会影响到这个句子整个要表达的这个意思。所以它虽然是一个小小的字，其实它还挺重要的。
Yes. If you prefer more expensive cafes, that monthly total will take up a bigger part of your budget.
所以他就讲啦，你如果只是去 convenience store 买，那一杯45块啦，那你可能一个月就是多花了1000多块。但是如果今天呢，我是喝这个咖啡很挑剔的顾客嘞，这个 convenience store 咖啡怎么可以入得了我的口呢？这时候呢，他就说，我要去一个 prefer， 我比较喜欢偏好去那个贵一点的那个 cafe。我们知道 cafe 就是 coffee shops， 然后你就要去那个比较贵的那个买。那这样的话呢，你的 monthly total， 你这样子，那么那个 that 就那么你这样子的一个花费，也就是说你要去比较昂贵的这个咖啡店买咖啡的话呢，你每一月的花费的总额呢，可能就会 take up。我们知道 take up 就是占据掉什么地方或时间，它就会占据掉你的 budget。你的 budget 就是你每一天的预算里面比较大的那一个部分了。
Yes. So,What's your latte factor?
所以我们两个刚才已经有表达我们的 latte factor。那么各位同学，你们的呢
？So tomorrow we're going to find out more about the latte factor. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.